A Reform councillor has been suspended over racist posts at the Epping hotel protest. I'm going to read into this more from an exclusive from the iPaper, you guys. So it says here that James Regan, elected as a councillor for Epping Forest District Council in May, called asylum seekers, paedophiles and Muslims evil in a social media post. Now, we're going to read a bit more into the context of what he said in his social media post below. Now, and obviously it's going to be a little bit, it might be a bit distressing for some people, that context. So I just want to put that caveat out there before we go into it. But what's terrible is that this person shares in part the same name as me, which obviously makes me sick to my stomach. That's the first thing that makes me sick to my stomach. And the fact that they want to proclaim that Muslims are evil, which they are not. I have worked with Muslims. I have met Muslims. I've never come across in my working career, in my life, bad Muslims. Is there bad Muslims out there? Yes, there are, but there are also bad people in all our walking of aspects. So to claim that one group of people is evil is completely taken out of context. Obviously, someone has probably hasn't been to a lot of places around the world. But I probably would say here. To call them palampolice, again, you're just smearing one group of people. And I've said this already, it's just racism to smear one group of people. It really, really is. I want to touch on, before I read into this as well, about the verdict as well, about the verdict on the hotel as well. I don't agree with the court's decision to allow them to remain in the hotel. Not because of what protesters and people have been saying about the fact that their children and whatnot are in danger and whatnot. That's not the reason. The main reason that I don't agree with the decision, and what the council should have made the argument on, is the fact that the police and the protesters and counter-protesters, as well as those who are in the hotel, are not safe. Are not safe based on the amount of media coverage they has, based on the amount of protests. There is a severe safety risk here when it comes to the well-beings of all different parties in this, and that is the main reason why I advocate for the hotel to be closed. That's why I've advocated for it, not because of what people are claiming about about those inside the hotels, and we have to stress the words claiming. They have no evidence whatsoever. Claiming, yeah. So that's the main reason why I don't agree with the court's decision. But at the end of the day, whatever the court says is what it is at the end of the day. So like I said, we're going to read something that some viewers may find distressing in this. So I'm just warning you ahead of time. So a Reform councillor who protested outside the Bell Hotel has been suspended by the party after claiming asylum seekers were paedophiles and Muslims people were evil in social media posts. James Regan, who was elected to represent Ongar Ward in Epping Forest District Council in May, called the Bell Hotel in Epping a paedophile babysitting centre while joining demonstrations outside the venue earlier this month. This is completely not true. He has he had no information whatsoever to make this. In another post on X, Regan described Islam as an evil criminal cartel of evil pedos, and claimed that Islam will suck our benefit system dry. Again, this is completely out. This is completely false, and this is completely out of order. After being alerted to the post by the iPaper, a Reform UK spokesperson said, Councillor Regan has been suspended from Reform UK pending investigation. We do not tolerate any forms of racism. The Bell Hotel has become a vocal point for anti-immigration protests in recent weeks, with demonstrations calling for migrants living at the site to be removed after one asylum seeker was charged with allegedly attempting to kiss a 14-year-old girl. Now, I want to just put this on the record here. Well done to Reform UK for suspending the councillor pending investigation. So they have taken the appropriate action on that, on that. So Regan, who is 61, has regularly joined protests at the hotel in recent weeks, while sharing hate-filled posts about Muslims and asylum seekers on X, TikTok, and Facebook, as well as spreading misinformation about the role of police. So not only is he spreading hate and hate, but he's also undermining the police as well. In one video recording outside the hotel and published on TikTok, he said, "Thanks to the British government, we now have a third world paedophile babysitting centre in the middle of Epping." Again, like, this is just nonsense. In other posts, he spread unfounded rumours that police were escorting an aggressive counter group directly towards local demonstrations because police actually want trouble. Essex police has reportedly denied such claims, again making stuff up without any evidence whatsoever. He's also filmed through the doors of the hotel as protesters behind him shout, "Where's your documents?" and identify yourself towards people of colour who appeared to be working at the hotel. Councillor's behaviour appeared to concern Reform colleagues. In one TikTok video in July, which looked to have been filmed using a body camera worn by Regan, fellow Epping Forest Reform Councillor Jamal McVaugh warns him about his language. McVaugh says groups like Stand Up to Racism want us to slip up, and that Regan should imagine the whole entire world is watching you when you're talking the littlest of things. This is the thing. Say here. See, this councillor here, he's a little bit more smarter. You see, they say a lot of this nasty stuff behind the scenes, off the cameras, off the post. They say really, really nasty things. But if you say it too publicly, obviously you get caught out. Referring to a comment in which Regan claimed, we stand for Englishness, but they tried to dilute it out of us, McVaugh said. What is Englishness? There are people from there. What do you mean by that? You stand for that Englishness. They do realize that we have English people from all sorts of backgrounds as well. They do realize that, right? England isn't just a straight white country. You know that, right? What you say about migrants diluting Englishness, everyone gets, but what they're trying to say is to do with skin color. It wasn't anything to do with skin color. So why? And like I've said in other videos, if it's nothing to do with skin color, why are you guys not doing anything about the white grooming gangs, or white paedophiles that are in England? Why are you guys not saying anything about them? Regan tells McFarlane, when the crap hits the fan, step aside and let me defend effing myself. I'm a big boy, I will call every effer out. His post on his X account earlier this year, before he was elected, state that Islam is an evil ideology of hate and corrupted by third world medieval ideology and has no place in Britain, and that the religion poses a risk to school children. Again, he has no evidence to base this. In one post, he wrote, Britain's biggest criminal organisation is going to Islam. Islam will suck our benefit system dry. He added, this is an infection being exposed. Sharing the post from Britain's first, Ashida found falsely claiming that the English people are a minority in Manchester, and the Reform Councillor added a message saying, what we are supposed to do when we see this crap on our streets. Regan refers to himself as the crafty Cockney on his social media accounts. Also shared a video of himself attending a free Tommy Robinson march, protesting the detention of the former English Defence League leader last year, when Tommy Robinson actually admitted to his crime. Revelations of Regan's behaviour has raised further questions about Reform's vetting procedures under leader Nigel Farage. George Lammy, director of campaign group Hope Not Hate, said despite Nigel Farage's claims that he would rid the party of bad apples and that Reform UK have the most in-depth vetting procedure of any party, James Regan is joining a long line of Reform councillors who are not fit to represent the people of this country. Excuse me. The post Regan has been sharing are totally unacceptable, especially as an elected member of Epping Forest Council, they said. Farage has attempted to distance himself from problems with Reform's processes ahead of last year's general election, as the party was hit by a series of negative revelations about candidates, including one who described Hitler as brilliant at inspiring people, and another who said women were the spondering gender. Farage claimed that the party had been stitched up by a vetting company they had paid to check the background of individuals hoping to stand for Parliament. He said last month, I can't apologise for what happened before I came in. I inherited this situation where hundreds of candidates who stood in the last general election had not gone through a vetting process. I said on the 5th of July, the day after the election last year, that we would now professionalise. Opposition parties have accused Reform of failing to get to grips with its vetting issue. Yep. A Liberal Democrat spokesperson told the iPaper, Reform are not fit to grace the council's office. These comments are horrifically racist and the councillor involved must be expelled if these allegations are confirmed. It's appalling that someone has openly expressed these sort of views and could be accepted as a candidate by Reform. This goes to show the quality of their candidacy vetting. Labour said last month that Reform's vetting procedures aren't up to the job. Reform did not respond to questions from this paper about the party's vetting procedure in the case of James Regan. Regan did not respond to a request for comments. TikTok says Regan's account has been removed for violating its policies and that the platform does not tolerate hate speech or hateful behaviour. Meta and James Mather were also approached for comment. So, obviously, TikTok have obviously removed his account, which is good. But there needs to be accountability here, especially with the kind of language that you're hearing from him. You're hearing from James here in this article. It's absolutely horrible and absolutely completely out of order. This is the kind of thing. These are the really people who are really messed up, who are so far down down the rabbit hole they don't even see what's happening in front of them. It's absolutely horrific that people have fallen, that James here has fallen so far down that hole, thinking that that England is being taken away from them, which is completely nonsense. It's absolute nonsense, guys. It's nothing more than scaremongering, and that's what it is. People need to people really need to understand that it is simply scaremongering. Over the last 10, 20 years, 25 years of my life, I've had the pleasure of going to many different places. I've been to a lot of places in England, in and around places. I've been to many South Coast towns. I've been to places in Wales. I've even visited Scotland recently, and I've got to go to different towns, different places, and whatnot, right? And never have I gone to a place feeling like, and never have I gone to a place in the UK that where I've gone there and I've left it thinking like it's not English, or that it's not Welsh, or it's not Scottish, or it's not British. Like, it's just another town with lots of people in it. Some may have more white people than others. Some may have some different skin colours or religious backgrounds or whatnot. But I never looked at it and thought, oh, our country's being taken from us. And I've been to many towns and villages and whatnot in the UK. And there's many more for me to visit. But I've never felt going away from these places thinking that. And I really do encourage James Regan and other people like him to seriously go and do some exploring around the UK. To really go out, go and have a look around the UK. Don't take the words of social media. Don't take the words of even myself. Don't take the words of what Reform UK are saying. Go to towns, go to places, go and see them for yourself. That is the message I have for people like James, who think that their country is being taken from them. Because I can assure you, if over the last 20 years, when I've been to many places, I didn't feel that. I have not felt that. And I don't know what compels people to feel this way still. But I can assure you that is not the case. But what do you guys honestly think? What do you guys make of this Reform councillor? Currently, at the time of this recording, he's not been removed. At the time of this recording, he hasn't been removed. He's been removed. He has been suspended. But obviously, let me know your thoughts and more about all of this down in the comments section below. If you found this video interesting and informative, please hit that like button, share it across social media, subscribe if you haven't already. Do check out Patreon and Rumble for exclusive content on those platforms. And if you want to financially support me and the work that I do here instead of wasting your money on Reform UK, you can do so by becoming a YouTube member for as little as 99p. Just click the join button down below. So thank you all so much for watching, and I hope to catch you all very soon.